What's changed in predator control? Gamekeeper Geoff Garrod gets all misty-eyed as he looks back at his Keeper's Diary DVD from 15 years ago.
I've been in this game for 40 plus years, so we're going back into the late 70s.
Josh McKeown from Braces of Bristol finds out why one rifle shooter wouldn't be without his Blaser quad sticks. News correspondent Deborah Hadfield hears about the Ukrainian hunter-turned-sniper nicknamed the Lone Wolf. We have a super stealthy camouflage suit from Leafy Suits to give away. We have news. We have hunting YouTube. Welcome to Fieldsports Britain.
Right, well I'll just get off and start checking my traps.
Geoff Garrod has been a keeper for 40 years. Back in 2007, he worked with his friend John Pyle to produce this video as part of the Keeper's Diary series of DVDs. In this series, he'll be looking back and reflecting on how the gamekeeper's job has changed over the years. The first of our trips down memory lane is springtime predator control.
When I first come into it, late 70s, early 80s, there was no control. There was no regulation. People done what they want. You know, I'm not saying that we were doing things wrong or illegal, but we were just getting on with our job. We were just doing it. We knew what we were doing. We knew the benefits, and we just got on with it. But come through the late 90s into the 2000 era to where we are now, we're under massive scrutiny to what we're doing. I'm happy with that because I have nothing to hide. The bottom line of it is I'm a keeper. My job is to produce game and to put on shooting days. And when a day goes to perfection, yeah, I get huge satisfactions out of that. But also, you know, when you go through the woods or even just sitting in a pigeon hide and you're seeing wildlife coming by you, that to me is the other half of the satisfaction that I get out of the job. Knowing that my hard work has created an environment that's given everything a chance to survive. We have a bird table outside the back door here. You know, to sit there some months having a cup of tea, just watching what visitors that bird table, ranging from woodpeckers to blue tits to nuthatch. I have that little feel inside of me that they're here because I've given a little bit of help to see them through their nesting time. Their nest hasn't been predated by a thieving magpie or worse still a carrion crow. So I get huge satisfaction out of the job, and it's not just because of the shooting part thing. It's knowing that if I wasn't here, people wouldn't be seeing what I see here. You know, you go to a keeper's shoot, you see vast amounts of wildlife, more than what you ever will do on an unkeepered piece of ground. I know what I'm doing benefits the countryside. Our biggest target this time of year are foxes, rats and wing vermin, magpies, crows, because they're the ones that will be doing the most damage. The reasons that we catch carrion crows and magpies, these two birds are the biggest predator of eggs in the countryside. Not only pheasant and partridge eggs, but any songbirds, any eggs that they come across, they'll take. So that's one of the main reasons that we control the magpies and crows, and this is the way that we do it. The Larsen trap to me was a huge step forward in the keeper's armoury, if you like, for helping control the magpies and the carrion crows. One of the things that I can already see that's different is when Larsen traps were invented and came out, they were all made of wood, so wood and wire, which was great, but you know, eventually the wood got damaged, it got rotten and it fell apart. Nowadays, we're having the same Larsen traps, the same methods, but made out of wire mesh. So one they last forever, and 2, they're a lot stronger, you know, but they're still doing the same job. Because you have a captive bird in there, the bird has to have enough room that it can open its wings fully, and it has to have a perch, it has to have a shelter, so the perch is underneath the shelter. So obviously if it's wet, raining, it's got somewhere that it can go and get out of the rain. It has to have fresh food, it has to have fresh water, and it has to be inspected at least once every 24 hours. So most keepers that I know, they're off first thing in the morning, they're round checking their traps in the morning, they get it done. And then during the day, you know, if they're driving by and it's caught something else, they'll go and check it and sort it out from there.
Like many keepers, Geoff sometimes has trouble with walkers interfering with his traps.
We do get that. I mean, you know, we get that because people, you know, are just against what we do, don't understand what we do, and perhaps just a little bit ignorant of what we're doing. We don't want confrontation. We don't, you know, if I catch people, I will try to explain to them why we're doing it, the reasons why we're doing it, and the benefits why we're doing it. And I do get quite a few people give me the, I didn't realise, I didn't understand, because they only hear one side of an argument. So giving people the chance to understand both sides of the argument, you know, that's what I'm about. That's what you know, if I see people, I'll explain. If I catch them, you know, damaging equipment, well, that's a whole different ball game. You know, there's criminal damage. We don't want to go down that road, but you know, sometimes, you know, it's needed. But it's education. Yeah. Education of the public is needed.
We've constructed a tunnel by a hopper.
So what we're coming up to here now on the predator control is fen traps and tunnel trapping. When this video was made, it was perfectly legal to use fen traps in tunnels to catch a variety of ground vermin, rats, stoats, weasels, even squirrels. Today, and the law change, we cannot set a fen trap if there's any chance of catching stoats. The Perdex and the dock trap have come in to replace the fen trap. The principles of tunnel trapping are still the same, it's just that we've just had to use different equipment. The equipment has been upgraded and stronger, so now if you catch a stoat in a trap, it's dead. In the olden days when I used to set a few fen traps in tunnels, nothing worse on a cold frosty morning than setting the trap off with your fingers left dangling in it. It hurt. The new ones, I would say if you got your fingers in the way there, you'd break them. That's how strong the traps are now. I could be covering best part of 10-15 miles in the morning on the quad bike, just checking things. It's just keeping an eye out for things, you know, like a squirrel up a tree, you know, a rat running across the ride, a magpie calling in the tree. There's all sorts of opportunities as to why I need a gun with me in the morning, you know, especially in that predator control area. I've got a Browning Max's 2. It's a multi-choke, and I use Ely cartridges. Basically, I'll go around with Ely Pigeon Select or an Ely HV 32 gram cartridge. Certain other times of the year, I'll swap the 6 30 gram cartridges to an Ely Alpha Max, which I've used for many years, and put in the right place at a distance will do the job. A painter has his brushes as tools of his trade, and he can't do his job without the brushes and paint. The gun is part of his tools of my trade. I can't do my job without a gun firearm. So, you know, when I'm checking my rounds in the morning, yeah, I will have a gun with me on the front of my quad bike. Ely cartridges go back to my childhood days when I used to sit in the bottom of a hide with my dad when we was pigeon shooting. I can still remember today an empty paper case cartridge, picking it up and giving it a whiff and the smell just still stays with me to this day. Been very lucky that nurtured a partnership with Ely now, where I shoot their cartridges. The Browning Maxus Auto, I started using that probably 10 years ago. I've now moved on to the Maxus 2, and it's just one of the most reliable guns, autos, that I've had. As I said at the start of the clip, fox control is one of the main things I do on here. Snaring. With the snaring, we haven't got like 500 snares every single day across the whole place. We target certain areas where we think we've got activity. It's very easy now to see movements of foxes at night time with the thermal imaging gear that we've got. You still have to be out there, you still have to put the work in, but the advance is leaps and bounds to what it used to be. So we can travel around at night time, and we can look through thermal gear, and if we can sort of find a particular fox in an area that we perhaps can't get with the rifle, I know now that there's a fox in that area, so the next day I'll target that area with a few snares to try and help me. If I can't get it at night time, I'll try and get it, with a snare, which is now basically holding devices with the new code compliant snares that we use. I've always used shop brought snares. I've never made anything myself, and in the early days, when I first used a snare, bearing in mind I've been in this game for 40 plus years, so we're going back into the late 70s, when it was self-locking snares, where the snare would pull tight and it wouldn't release. They banned that to the free running snare, and now we've moved on now to what we call the holding device, which is a code compliant snare, where if a non-target species gets in there, I don't know, a deer or a badger, there's a clip on there that should take the pressure of a fox, but anything stronger, it will just bust the clip. So a non-target species will just get out, which is another step up the ladder, if you like, on improving methods and equipment that we use this day and age. It's there to catch something, it's there to hold something, there's no point denying it, but it's doing it in the best possible way, So, when I get there in the morning, first thing in the morning, I can see there's a fox in there, just get off, dispatch it, take it out of the holding device, then we'll move it and reset it. You don't have to do things illegal, to do the job. We have to modernise. I have no problem modernising. I want to leave the keepering fraternity in a state that my son's coming along board. He can continue to have the joys and enjoy keeping like I have. But I have no problem with modernising. We all have to modernise. As every profession across the board, people are looking at it. Construction's another one, farming's another one. People are looking at it to improve it, to modernise it, to make it safer, to make it more legal. I have no problem with doing it with keepering. I want keepering to continue, and to continue keepering by modifying it, by having people look at it and improving things, then I'm happy with that. And hopefully it's given you, the viewers, a chance to see how keepers of modern days carry out their predator control.
You can find the Keeper's Diary DVDs at geoffgarrod.co.uk. For more about Browning, Ely and Jack Pike, see the links in the description below. Thank you, Geoff. Next up, a man whose DVDs from 15 years ago are on the top shelf. It's David on the Fieldsports Channel News Stump.
This is Fieldsports Channel News. Two Sabs face trial for clashing with members of the Avon Vale Hunt in Wiltshire. The Antis are charged with using threatening or abusive behaviour with the intent to cause fear or violence at the event outside the Red Lion pub when riders passed by on the 27th of December last year. Two men from Wiltshire deny the charges. One of them is also accused of smashing a mobile phone from someone's hand. They're both on unconditional bail and their trial is at Swindon Magistrates Court on the 29th of September 2022. Some attending the day after Boxing Day meet criticised Wiltshire Police for not intervening when violence broke out. The Police and Crime Commissioner is investigating. Gamekeepers in the Peak District have attacked the results of a report which suggests that blue hares in the national park are under threat. As reported in Fieldsports News, research paid for by anti-shooting group the People's Trust for Endangered Species claims they're at risk of extinction, with only 3,500 left in England. Gamekeepers say the study is flawed, as researchers only counted during the day. Richard Bailey of the Peak District Moorland Group says mountain hares are nocturnal and must be counted at night. He added the results of a report by the Game and Wildlife Conservation Trust are more accurate.
Our view is that they didn't engage with us on the ground. The fact that they use daytime methodology, that's been shown to be flawed, which is why we went with nighttime surveys. Whole areas of the Peak District were ignored, which they could have perhaps surveyed on with permission from the landowners, which was forthcoming. And areas of disturbance and predation wasn't really taken into consideration.
We have an in-depth article about this on Fieldsports Channel's website. Click in the description below. A passionate fox hunting supporter has confronted a Northern Irish politician in the street. Alliance MLA John Blair found himself face-to-face with a voter who made his views clear about his proposal to bring back his bill to ban fox hunting. The shooter in this video is explaining how vital fox hunting is to his family. Despite the defeat of Blair's controversial bill in December, he says he will pursue its reintroduction. The Countryside Alliance Ireland posted the video on its Facebook page. A day of online action in Scotland is taking place today, the 20th of April 2022. Organised by Grampian Moorland Group and supported by other moorland groups across the country, as well as the Scottish Gamekeepers Association, it is a protest against the Cairngorms National Park Partnership Plan. The new plan proposes changes to game bird and deer management in the park, with a drive for unfenced tree regeneration and planting, and the effective massacre of deer down to an unsustainable 4 per square kilometre. Protest organisers say they're concerned over the potential loss of red-listed species and the effect on food security. You can still take part in the protest by following the link in the description below. The Animal Liberation Front is attacking high seats on the continent. ALF in the Netherlands has posted a picture of 10 high seats it claims it has sabotaged. Hunters have reported the damage to police. The Irish government has spent €50,000 on signage to warn drivers of deer crossing a road in County Tipperary. It comes after a Wild Deer Association of Ireland campaign for improvements to stop accidents.
Well, it'll make a huge difference, because you can see that road behind me. The average speed there is 100 kilometres, and at night time can be a lot higher than that. And if you hit fallow deer, which mostly fallow deer here, but there is some reds here, and if you hit a red deer at that kind of speed, they will come in through the windscreen, and there will be somebody killed eventually. So it's essential that it's done for the welfare of the animal and for people as well, and it is essential.
The Maltese can go shooting again. A court has revoked a temporary ban on hunting turtle doves. Antis brought a case against the government, which led to a suspension of the annual spring hunt. The FKNK Hunters Federation said overturning it is a historic win for the organisation. American hunters claim that fears over the falling number of wolves in Yellowstone Park are unfounded. They killed 25 wolves, around 25% of the park's population. The number of wolves killed in Montana is at its lowest since 2017, and the Montana Trappers Association points out that wolves breed quickly. Thank you to Mark Corney for the story. Aunties are furious that a hunting party has killed 2 large bull elephants in Botswana. They claim the tusks of the 2 bulls weigh around 100 pounds. They claim the bigger of the pair is the largest shot in Botswana since 1996, and that it would have attracted eco-tourists to the country. They ignore that the animals are hunted in a 1 million-acre block that has no ecotourism. Elephants can grow tusks of more than 200 pounds. With more than 130,000 elephants, Botswana has the largest population of elephants of any country in Africa. Police in Washington have captured a rabid fox which bit 9 people, including a congressman, near Capitol Hill. Police say foxes have been seen before, but the aggressive behaviour of this one is unusual. The fox was put down and tested positive for rabies. The animal bit Democratic Representative Amy Berra from California. He's received a series of shots and is back at work. Health officials also found the fox's cubs and put them down, infuriating animal rights activists. And finally, police have arrested an alligator after it was seen taking a walk through a car park in Florida. Officers found the animal tied to a tree. They believe it walked from Taco Bell nearby, although it's not known if the animal was lured by the takeaway food. Police say they don't know who tied it to the tree. They turned the gator over to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.
Thank you, David. Now, how would you like an invisible cloak so you could creep about the woods without being spotted? Well, here's the next best thing, a 3D camouflage suit from leafysuits.com. We've got one to give away, priced at £75. If you want to know how to win it, the easiest way is to sign up for the Field Sports Nation, who get to watch Field Sports Extra each week. Link in the description below. Do that and you support our work, such as this next piece. News correspondent Deborah Hadfield discovers how hunters in Ukraine are turning their skills to fighting the Russian army, including one hunter-turned-sniper who has earned the nickname the Lone Wolf.
Hunters and shooters are still fighting for their lives in Ukraine. Taras Olyanik, who works for Ibis Hunting and Guns in Kyiv, says their skills are making all the difference. The 47-year-old says they've helped keep the Russians out of the capital.
By now they are gone. Our forces throw them away from Kyiv region, from Chernihiv region, from Sumy region, and that's fine because I don't hear explosions through my window anymore, at least not as much. But it's still not completely safe in Kyiv, but life is coming back into the city, so we are much safer now than we was before.
Taras used to teach people to shoot deer, boar and foxes. Now he gives hunters specialist training to shoot Russians.
I teach people how to use thermal vision devices and night vision devices, what to do with thermal vision scopes, how you can choose between different types of thermal vision, because lots of our guys are looking for monoculars, scopes and clip-on attachments right now. I teach people about ballistics, what I know about shooting longer ranges, because you know in a city it's close range shooting. If it happens, it's like 100, 200, 300 meters, not much more. But in the field, especially in regions like Donbass, where it's very plain, there is almost no forest, and it's like hundreds and thousands of meters between forces. So if you want to be effective with your shooting, you need to learn long-range shooting.
Taras says hunters make great snipers. He believes they're heroes.
There is a story about one of the hunter nicknamed Volk, or Wolf in English, who happened to be on occupied territory, and he organized a few ambushes and solo missions and killed as many as 12 occupants on his own. with his shotgun or with his rifles. We do not know the details. So this is one of the bravest men that I ever heard about, because one thing is when you fight with another guys with you in information in some battalion, and completely other thing when you are alone on occupied territory.
Shooters like Taras in Ukraine say they will continue their fight until their country is safe and their families can come home again. Despite the dangers they face, he says hunters are proud to protect their country.
Some stories will never become public because lots of people just don't want it to become public. But personally, I know guys from not only hunters, but mainly hunters, that are very effective against the Russian occupants. So my feeling that it is very natural for every hunter to protect his own land, to protect his own families, to protect the way he lives.
More information about how to support shooters in Ukraine is in the description below.
Thank you to everyone who helped with that piece. Now, with nesting season getting underway, don't forget you can win a fabulous Browning trail camera in our Big Garden Pest Watch competition. All you have to do is snap some video footage or a still photo of pest birds stealing eggs or nestlings, send it to us, and the best pictures or video will win the prize. There's a serious purpose to the footage, will help show the public why we need to control pest species such as crows and magpies. Next up, we're back at the Braces of Bristol rifle range with Josh McKeown, learning about the benefits of shooting off quad sticks.
This is Jamie with his Blazer rifle, which is equipped with a Harris type bipod and obviously the set of shooting sticks underneath. 9 times out of 10, you'd use a bipod when you've got access to a hard flat surface to deploy the legs down onto, be it a shooting stand, the top of your car bonnet, could be a low wall, or if you're led prone, whereas if you're out on foot, you go with using the sticks.
The setup you see is what I used to go out stalking. The bipod is very, very handy. If I'm out on a quad bike, the legs can be dropped, rested on the quad bike. Also, the bipod legs are good for going in the prone, and it gives the rifle good stability to shoot from. Sticks, absolute necessity, I believe, for stalking, for fox shooting, for rabbit shooting. A very sturdy bit of kit. I've shot foxes with this at 300 metres away, and I can hold it still. It's very, very good. And it just takes seconds to set up. Especially for foxing, this sticks can traverse left to right, and especially the foxes, when you're squeaking them in, you're in a position to fire, and you're not having to move the sticks around whatsoever. Before, I'd use the old school bipod, with just your 2 legs with a clamp on top. They're good. That's if you're a good shot. Now I've gone to these sticks. This is unbelievable. You can't really miss. It's cheating, really. Bipod's old school, as in the sticks to this. This is fantastic. It's got numbers on the side. So for my Blazer, for this one, I set it at 33. I know, for me, this is the perfect setting. So I was using the 22LR. I'd raise it slightly more. To carry, it's fine. It's not noisy. They're lightweight. And I find them very, very quick to set up. But it takes a bit of effort to practice, but you'll get there. It just holds the rifle naturally and perfect, and it's a very, very stable shoot position. Shooting downhill, uphill, you don't need to adjust the bipod. It does it all for you. All you got to do is adjust your body position. No need to adjust the stick. Not a loose hold. You still have to hold onto the rifle, but it's balanced, beautiful. As you can see, I don't have to. That's the sticks holding the rifle on its own. You use your usual shooting positions. So obviously the stock, the butt needs to still be in the shoulder. There's not much jump with this 308 from it. You can use it from air rifle shooting up to shooting the big stuff with the 308. And it's a very, very stable, good position, and you will shoot a lot further with these sticks than from your old traditional bipod with the 2 legs. I recommend these all day long.
Thanks, Josh and Jamie. To watch more rifle shooting tips with Josh, click on the link in the description below. Now, from rifle shooting to the wider world of hunting and shooting on YouTube, it is Hunting YouTube. This is Hunting YouTube, which aims to show the top hunting and shooting videos that YouTube has to offer. Jonathan McGee is back making his game map of Britain. This time he features the Glyn shoot in North Wales. Mark Yale sends me his latest problem fox shooting. He deals with a fox that has been chasing a farmer's small dog as well as feasting on chickens. Done. War? What war? This Belarusian hunting channel is out after geese. Called The World Through the Eyes of a Hunter, the guy behind the channel shows how they decoy near the Belarus capital Minsk. Thanks to viewer Patrick for this. American hunter Ron Spomer interviews American hunter Craig Boddington. It's the Ron Spomer Outdoors podcast. Patrick recommends it for the public land management section. Here's another interview piece. This time it is Basque and BBC Antiques Roadshow expert Bill Harriman talking about his career. The best of the West from the USA travels to New Zealand to go bow hunting with our old pals at Venator Safaris. They're after elk, red stag and chamois. Matt Watson from Ultimate Fishing in New Zealand has never hunted the red raw properly, so he heads down to Marlborough with his mate Simon. And finally, the mighty Rutt Daniels has a sponsor in what is the best press conference I have seen the gun trade put on. Rutt signs for Mossy Oak. Didn't go 20. That's it for this week. I've put all these films into a playlist for you. Click on the eye symbol top right or check this film's description. If you have a YouTube film you would like us to pop into the weekly top 8, email me the link, charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv. Well, that is it for this week. If you haven't done so, please whiz over to our website, fieldsportschannel.tv. Click the likes there on Facebook and on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube. Best of all, pop your email address into our register page on our website and we'll contact you about the show. Fieldsports Britain is at 7 PM UK time every Wednesday. And this has been Fieldsports Britain. Good hunting, good shooting, good fishing, and goodbye.